and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Going to move on next, and this is kind of funny because when we first started Hard Lens Media back in 2017, one of our earliest stories was about net neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
And
we
had a great talk about it. What has happened is that the New York Attorney General has engaged in an investigation, finding that 18 million of the 22 million comments submitted to the FCC during the 2017 rollback of federal net neutrality rules were fake. And this is from Yahoo News. And millions of the fraudulent comments were funded by a broadband industry campaign. So according to Attorney General Letitia James, the Broadband for America, which was a coalition of major service providers, paid $4.2 million to generate and submit 8.5 million fake comments. Also pointed out that there was fraud on the other side, and about 1.6 million comments supporting net neutrality were also entered because they all used fake names. So I think what this to me, I mean, okay, this is what it is, but for me, it shows the real problem with a government agency, a major government agency that does not have a means to vet its own commenting programs. Here's the thing. One of the nice things about living in what's supposed to be a free and open society is that our administrative state is required to engage in transparency, is required to solicit comments from the general public. And this is something that's important. This is important work. And unfortunately, once again, U.S. agencies got caught flat-footed and in a major campaign like this where the comments that are being submitted are oftentimes being submitted through major broadband connections. And that is how this particular situation came to pass, is we got a bunch of comments here that were solicited, that were paid for, and were probably fraudulent. The whole system is broken, and this should not have been happening at that stage of the game.
And I remember when we covered that, we sort of intuitively knew that that was what was happening. But if you remember, if you remember in that entire process, what was Ajit Pai and all the other people at FCC saying? They were claiming the opposite. They were claiming, remember, they were throwing away comments that were genuine, legitimate comments of people in favor of net neutrality, and basically said, it's all of it's fake. These comments, we're not going to really take these seriously because we don't agree with them and these are fake. Where it turns out that they were half right. It was just the people that were against net neutrality that were fake. And the reason we knew that at that point was, well, the ones that were for, because they're public, the ones that were for net neutrality were genuinely individual in nature and how they were written, and the ones against net neutrality were copy-pasta forms that looked all exactly the same. They were written by dead people. That was a big giveaway.
All from Chicago, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we knew this. I'm glad that it took, like, the government like 3 years to.
Well, in this case, it wasn't even the government. Right. It was New York's Attorney General.
Even better.
Okay. So here's the thing, because I mean, it's hard to do a real follow up to what Daniel pointed out, especially with the fact that, look, a lot of those comments that were against or that were for that were against like net neutrality, that were all like robots. Click, copy, and paste. But here's something that I think all of us can agree on. Whether you are a libertarian, Republican, and I'm not talking about politicians. I'm talking about regular people. Whether you're a libertarian voter, Republican voter, Democrat voter, independent, progressive, socialist, doesn't matter. Everyone agrees that we need to have net neutrality, because if we lose net neutrality, we lose the ability, all of us, to really speak out our minds, and also for a lot of people to be entrepreneurs and so much more. I mean, our livelihoods here for Hard Lens Media is to be on the internet, but yet we have dealt with a lot of censorship, and a lot of times where our own internet, Comcast, there you go, have screwed us over. And we need to have accountability, but I just find it interesting that, again, we are returning to a story that we covered way, way, way back in the day on the radio, and nothing has changed. Nothing has fundamentally changed.
Well, yes, and the fact that we have this incredibly broken process. People have been using the internet en masse, really since the late 90s into the 2000s, and the fact that our agencies cannot figure out a way to offer up a comment period in a way that encourages commenting while not just discounting obviously fake campaigns is really quite something. It does not say much for transparency in government.
I would just add on to that this is a bigger problem that we have, where if there's a comment period and it's like 50-50, they're like, well, no one really has a feeling on this. But if it's 90% against what the agency wants, what is the answer that we always hear? Fake, too popular, people were too excited for this. And so I think the core problem, the core issue with these comments is not just that they're difficult when they even happen to submit and go through. It's that when they happen, our agencies don't care.
Yeah. It's distressing, and again, it really kind of rolls back the idea of an open government, of a transparent government, the notion of democracy. Every citizen and a resident should have his or her say, and at this point, they're not even trying. They're just, phoning it in.
Yeah.